Hi Alex, so this week I'm going to be reviewing Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. Just so you know, this review might be a little shorter than normal because it's almost Thanksgiving and we're going away for the weekend and I have lots of things to pack and do laundry and all sorts of stuff like that. You're just going to watch old episodes of The West Wing. You're watching them now, aren't you? What? When I want your opinion, I'll ask for it. Hey, come on, focus. Fine. Little Women is your pretty typical coming-of-age book. It tells the story of the March sisters, Meg, Jo, Beth, and Amy, as they grow up while their father's off at war. It's the kind of book that doesn't really have a traditional plot structure with a beginning, middle, and end. Really, the book's all about the characters. Each of the four sisters undergoes their own character arc. It's the kind of book that doesn't really have a traditional plot structure with a beginning, middle, and an end. Really, it's all about the four main characters. The four sisters each have their own character flaw, which they have to go through some sort of test to overcome. I mean, it's a little more subtle than that. It's not like they leave the room and there's a gatekeeper saying, you must overcome your fear, except it kind of is. Filling out the cast is the girl's mother, their meddling aunt, and their charming next-door neighbor, Laurie. Laurie's a boy, by the way. His full name is Theodore Lawrence, but he chose Laurie because he kept getting saddled with the feminine nickname Dora. Man, 19th century names are weird. Now, before I go any further, I just need to make one thing clear. Little Women was originally published in 2 parts, and today it is often sold as 1. This was really confusing for me when I was a kid because my edition claimed to be unabridged, yet it only ended after 23 chapters. So that's the version I'm going to be talking about right now. Plot-wise, it ends with Meg getting engaged to Laurie's tutor, John, and Beth is still alive. Oh, not to spoil the sequels for anyone or anything, but come on, guys, it's been like 100 years. So I know this is like the classic growing up book for young girls, but I've never been able to get past It's Okay, even when I read it for the first time. I think part of my problem is how preachy the novel is. I mean, every couple chapters the girls get into some sort of trouble and their mother gives them an intense speech on how to fix their problems. And they all just go along with it and go, yes, we're sorry, we'll do better in the future. And they like realize their mistakes. Which is, you know, it's a good thing to do, but it's not that believable. I mean, they're only like ranging in age from like 12 to 17. They're not going to overcome all their flaws that easily. Apologies to my children's lit prof. I know that at the time that most works for children were a lot more animalicious, but still, it doesn't hold up that well to modern time. Not that the novel isn't ahead of its time in other ways. For instance, at this point in her life, Jo has absolutely no interest in getting married, and she says she's perfectly happy to grow old with her sisters and be old maids. Women can grow old without men? But who's going to bring home the money? Who are you supposed to cook for? Who will eat my shepherd's pie? You are the worst feminist ever. Speaking of no interest in romance, I don't think it's possible to do a review on Little Women and not mention Jo and Laurie. Jo is the first real friend Laurie has. They get along great. They spend all their time together. They basically become excellent friends, and in any other book this would be a setup for a romantic relationship, but here it just stays in the friend zone. I mean, this is a good thing in that it doesn't undercut Jo's character, but it does run contrary to, well, everything that's ever been written. It's actually a little weird to see a male and female character who are so close and yet have no romantic interest in each other. I mean, it's a lot closer to reality, but it's weird for fiction. In fact, when the novel first came out, Louisa May Alcott was bombarded with letters from readers who were like, when are you going to hook Jo up with Laurie? How come Jo and Laurie aren't getting together? This may be the first ever recorded incident of shipping. But what bothers me is not that Jo and Laurie don't get together, but that Laurie marries Amy in a later book, even though they had no chemistry before this. But that's a different book. In fact, despite the book being about all 4 characters, it's really Jo who has the most personality and who has the best subplots. I mean, in the first half of the book, Beth goes over to the neighbors to play piano and Amy gets in trouble for bringing limes to school. Jo, meanwhile, in a fit of anger over Amy having burned her manuscript in the fireplace, doesn't tell Amy when she goes over the thin ice, and Amy almost drowns. Now, those are like real consequences for real flaws. I mean, I guess it does make sense. Little Women is semi-autobiographical, and Jo sends in for Alcott herself, so it's understandable she would be harsher on Jo than on her sister characters. But still, it's a little imbalanced when one character is 3-dimensional and the others spend most of their time complaining about how poor they are and then realizing that they can be happy despite their lack of money. That's not a complete character. That's like a subplot at best. So, overall, this is a pretty decent book. I mean, yeah, it can beat you over the head with the messages sometimes, but overall, it's saying that love and family and friends will keep you together no matter what, and riches will only come secondary to that. And it's hard to fault that message. Although the numerous allusions to Pilgrim's Progress don't act in the novel's favor at all. I mean, it probably is just lost on the younger girls who read it and trigger Britlit flashbacks of the older ones who do follow it. But you know, at least it's not one of those super boring classics that is only still around because scholars have decided it represents the essence of true literature or some bullcrap like that. It's a good read, if not a great one. I'll give it 3 pickled limes out of 5. Alex, I'll see you next week when you review A Prayer for Owen Meany, I think? Don't quote me on that. See you later. Little Women is your pretty typical coming-of-age book. It tells the story of the March sisters, Jo, May... Fuck, what are their names? I'm getting really sick of saying hi, Alex, but I can't think of anything better. Good morning, Alex. It's Thursday. What's going on, Alex? Mystery Dom here. I spend way too much time on YouTube.